Okay, let's run this video on a brake pads change on a Toyota Camry. The year is 2000. It's a 2.2 station wagon. This video is for the front brake pads. I'm doing the rear brake pads after the front, so that'll be on a separate video. So this will be something like Toyota Camry 2000 front brake pad change, and the other one will be rear brake pad change. So I've already done the other side. These are the brake pads. Okay. I see it says Bendix there. Let me check something. Yeah, I got these at Super Cheap Auto, and I inspected, I had a look at the Bendix. I was considering using the Bendix, and they had a very small, sort of like a diamond shape on the front like that, and then it tapered into the actual size, the width here. So of course they would wear down too quick, so I got these. The other side, they went in very well. This one has a tang that goes on the other side, on the inside. Yeah, they seem all good. So the very first thing I'll say here is don't make the mistake of putting the metal on the rotor. So you've got the rotor here. If this was the back of the rotor, this material here must face the rotor. The metal cannot face the rotor. Another thing we have to do is take the cap off the brake fluid reservoir, and we'll have to take some out, because when we put the piston back in to accommodate the wider pads, because they're not worn, that'll force the solution or the brake fluid up and out of the cap. What I did was I used this, and you just pull the end out and it sucks the fluid in. I put it into a container. All this has got rags in it, because if this stuff gets on paint, it strips the paint off. On the 2000 Camry, this is just rubber, so you just peel it off. You don't screw it on or off. Okay, let's jack the wheel. Let's remove the wheel. We'll jack it up, remove the wheel, and yeah, we'll make a start. First we'll look at what we'll need. We'll need brake pads, cleaning solution, some sort of solvent. I'm using fuel, a bucket to put odds and ends in, a way to take off the wheel nuts. We'll need this tool here, so we can put the piston. We can drive the piston back to accommodate the new brake pads. We'll need little brushes. There's a sliding mechanism where this edge slides in and out when you apply the brakes and take your foot off the brake. We'll need a way to, like a shifter spanner, to remove one nut, to put part of the caliper up and out of the way. We need a bit of towel, paper towel. We will need brake grease or high temperature grease. One part of the caliper has to be lubed up, but just the caliper guides. Here's another type of high temperature grease, although I don't know, I'm not an expert, I'm not a mechanic or a auto electrician. However, I have done this type of work before. I'm 55 and I've been maintaining my own vehicle since I was 40. So that's the extent of my experience, although I would tend to use brake specific grease for this work. Other things I have is a hammer, just to get the spanner going, to remove the top of the caliper. I've got a screwdriver just to bring the caliper up. I've got working gloves, disposable gloves. I've got blocks to put under the car once I jack it up, to support the car just in case anything happens. Okay, well, we want the wheel up off the ground. Then we're going to place it back on so that when we undo the nuts, the wheel won't turn. This is the last fossil fuel car I'll reset. After this I'll be getting an electric car, and of course suspension brake parts will always have to be done, but I'm just hoping for less maintenance. But anyway, now we'll take off the cover. Oh, by the way, do not do this work. This is very important. Lives depend on this work, okay? Don't do this work unless you've got a lot of experience, okay? Because you do this work, you're going to be going down a hill, you're going to be asking the brake system to stop your car, and if everything's not lined up, you're going to go down that hill and over that cliff, okay? So, okay. Now we'll take off the wheel nuts. When the work's done, always test everything out on level ground, okay? Okay. So. Okay, now the wheel nuts are loose. We're going to get the wheel right up off the ground. All of the other wheels are chocked, so I've got bricks there on the other side and the front on the other side, so okay. Okay, at this point, just a reminder again, this is the disc, and this material here, not the metal, the material must be against the disc. Okay, so that must be like that. Okay, now we're going to undo this small nut here. We're going to bring this other part of the caliper up, and that will expose our brake pads. Our brake pads are on either side of the disc. Okay, there it is. And we keep it together with everything else. Okay, I've got a piece of wire, and we're just going to wrap it around the base and up onto the spring. Just watch you don't get the wire in your eyes. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're going up onto the spring, holding the caliper up. I'll just get rid of some of that so I don't get poked in the eye. Okay, so there's our caliper. Sorry, beg your pardon, that's our piston. So this is our caliper, all this part and this part here. That's the piston that drives the brake pads together. That's one brake pad, and that's another. Okay, there's our rotor. I can't turn the rotor because this is a front wheel drive. Okay, but the disc is loose. Okay, and that's the same with all of them. And I think what Toyota's saying is it doesn't have to be tight, because when you put the wheel on it and tighten the wheel nuts up, it's all interlocked anyway. Okay, so the brake pads come straight out. Okay, and we can see that this is worn down. The the rear brake pads are worse, but that's the thickness of the metal from there to there, and the brake pad is possibly a little bit thinner than the brake metal, so that's not good, because what happens is if you've got good brake pads, you've got a good amount of area there for the heat to be in before it gets to the metal. But in a situation like this, the metal also heats up very fast. So yeah, this is less than ideal, and now's a good time to change the brake pads. Okay, I've got some solvent and a brush. So we're just going to clean these tracks here that the brake pad, so the new ones will go in that way, and this slots into there, and the top slots into this one here. So we'll clean them out, we'll put a bit of grease on them, and we'll put the first brake pad in. Okay, I've got a small wire brush. It doesn't seem to need it, but I'll be on the safe side and give them the clean out. I'll do the same to the top. Okay, with a separate smaller brush, let's put a little bit of grease on the sliding track only, and not on the disc there. And while we're at it, we're going to put some along these bits here. That sit in the guide there, so that should just go straight in, shouldn't be any problems. We'll take the other one out. The back one has a small tang on it there. Okay, and that's fairly worn. As I said, the rear is worse, but that's about as low as you want to go. Okay, again, I highly recommend you get a mechanic to do this work, but that sliding track there, we'll clean that out and put some grease on it, and also the top one up there. Okay. Okay, now put the rear brake pad in, and that's it. So now what we need to do is undo the caliper. In fact, I can just go ahead and do that now. And we can see that the piston, it won't pass over, so we've got to drive this piston back into this area here and create more room between here and the piston. So we're going to use our U-clamp. We're going to put the back of it here on the back of the assembly, and we're going to turn the other side in. That must go against the metal. Okay, good. So let's drive the piston back inside the caliper housing there, and we have to make sure and check that no brake fluid is going to come out of here. So I've taken some out, so let's do that now. Okay, you should be able to see maybe the piston going in as I turn. Okay, now I'll go and check the reservoir. The volume of the reservoir is increasing, but it's okay, so I'll keep going. Okay, I won't go in too much, I'll go and check that now. Before I forget, there is a break-in procedure. That's the break-in procedure there. So if you follow those directions there, that's what they recommend. accelerate to 60 kilometers an hour using light to moderate pedal effort, reduce speed to 10 kilometers an hour, and repeat that. Repeat steps 1 and 2 10 times. Okay, so you don't completely stop the car, but you bring it up to 60, you brake until you're doing 10 kilometers an hour, and you do that 10 times. Okay, and that's a few tips there for replacing the brake pads. Okay, what have we got? What have we got? It's got to come over a bit. Okay, the caliper's got to go in a fraction more. It's nearly there. Okay, it's just got to get over a bit over this bolt here. So I think I can just push pressure and maybe just bring that in, and that's job done. Okay, now we just need to finish off. So as the instructions say, this is a rubber tube. You've got your brake fluid inside here. It has to be rubber because this goes up and down. Don't put too much force on this, otherwise you'll damage it, and your fluid will burst and come out. So okay, now so we just make sure that the brake pad material there is facing toward the metal of the disc, and that's the case there, and that's good on the other side as well. The caliper is sitting over flush. Now we just simply put in our small bolt, we tighten it up, and that's it. Put the wheel on, tighten up the wheel nuts, size 14mm. Okay, so when tightening this up, just make sure that your the socket or the spanner is resting hard on there, not like that, and not crossways like that. So I just put a finger on there just to make sure that it's sitting on there properly, and okay, and that's enough. While we're at it, we'll just check the top one. Sometimes they do rotate. Okay, it seems as if this one was good, but the others have been rotating. Once they've got enough pressure on them, then they seem to rotate. But that's not loose. That's good. Just to be a little more specific, these have been rotating, but they don't tighten up as you turn them. So that's how the others were. So it should be okay. Okay, so there's our reservoir. It's a little bit fuller. When I do the rear brake pads, I will have to take a little bit out, but okay, let's put the wheel on and take the box out and let it down. All stock standard, how it came from the factory. Try not to let the wheel ride on the thread too much, so just put a couple of nuts on there just so that it doesn't rotate or twist. Okay, so that should hold it off the thread. Don't put any WD-40 on the thread. In my experience, it can actually hydrolock and ruin the threads. Okay, we're going to tighten them up a bit. We're going to put the wheel on the ground and then completely tighten them up. Okay, so that's it. Make sure that the brake pad material is facing the disc, and you can't have the metal facing the metal disc. Make sure you don't place any or too much pressure on the rubber line. Use a piece of wire to tie the caliper up. Be safe. Use chocks under the vehicle. Make sure that you've got enough room in the reservoir to squeeze your caliper back in. During the run-in process, before you even get out of the garage, make sure that the vehicle will stop. Go a bit faster, then stop it, and keep on going up in increments until you're satisfied that the brakes work. Just do that lightly, then go through the bedding in or running in process for the brake pads. You have to do that so that the brake pads have the fullest life, the longest life, and you won't get also that you won't get any squeaking when using the brake pads. Take it easy, and I highly recommend getting a mechanic to do the work while you just relax in the shop and have a coffee instead of doing the work yourself. Don't trust a mechanic to do it properly. Be careful when you drive out of the shop. Ask a mechanic if he's bedded in the brake pads. Okay, be careful. Please like and subscribe. I hope this video helps. Okay, so at this stage I do know I've got fluid in the reservoir, and I've got brakes, so I established that, and then I've driven down here to this industrial estate, and I'm doing the bedding in process. I've done 2 stops, and it's almost 400 meters since the last stop, so I'll do the 3rd stop soon. So I'll bring it up to maybe if I turn on the lights, no, that makes no difference. Alright, I'll bring it up to 60 kilometers an hour, and I'll break down to 10 kilometers an hour. So and that's it. Making sure there's no one behind. Hazards are on. It's early on a Saturday morning, no one around, so I'll drive another 400 meters, and I'll do it again until it's 10 times done. Okay, what I did was I recorded the stops on a piece of cardboard just to keep track. I sincerely hope that your brake pad change is going to go smoothly and efficiently. I hope this video helps. Please like and subscribe. Okay, I'm driving home at the moment, and I can see this brake light there. So what that probably means is there's the brake fluid canister probably needs a little bit more fluid in it. Okay, that warning light is going on and off, and it's a classic signal of a low reservoir. So the oil is about on the ridge there. So let's put a bit in and see how it goes. Okay, now with the cap off, we can see that it is a little bit low. So I'm going to try filling up to the top of that plastic there and see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure that that's going to fix it. Okay, a couple of days later, 25th of the 4th, 2021, and yes, that did indeed fix that problem of the brake light coming on the dash. So it was just that the reservoir was too low. So I hope you found this video entertaining, and please like and subscribe.